So, this is exciting. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. If you can't see, I have books, bitch. And, yeah, this is interesting. My friends and my family would always joke that I should like make a YouTube channel or like start something like that. And I always like wanted to do it, but like, I don't know, I never wanted to take it seriously, and I am not taking it seriously. The only people who know about it is my family, because I would send them like my stupid, like very ironic vlogs that I made in my year in Israel, and then my friends from my year in Israel, like from my program, that I would make it with them. Like it was all very funny and very joking, and like, and then my best friend from New York, because I showed them to her because they were hilarious. But that's it. Like, I'm not like showing this to anyone. I don't really want a lot of people to know about this because I kind of just want it for myself, you know? So if you are watching this, enjoy, I guess. But like, yeah, I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read this year, because this year, I don't know what the fuck happened, but while I was in Israel, I walked out from this like weird house thing we were living in my year, in like my program in Israel. Don't really know how to explain it. I walked out and there were like a bunch of couches, and I'm convinced that it was my friend Yali, but it could have been anyone. But like in my head, it was her, that I saw her like sitting with a book in the sun, smoking a cigarette, and I was just like, that's the vibe I want. So I fucking bought a book and I started reading, and then I became obsessed with reading. Or maybe I'm obsessed with buying books. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so I went on Etsy and I bought this reading journal. So fucking nice. Bought this reading journal, and it like customizes your name and shit, and like, it's so nice. And I've been like obsessively documenting every book that I read and like what I think. And it basically looks like this. It's like this. So you put the title and the author and blah, 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 and like a review, and then like quotes or notes like that. So what I do in the review is, while I'm reading the book, I take notes for key things that happen so that I know what happened in that book, so that I don't mix it up. You know what I mean? Okay, let's falalackin' start. The first book that I picked up, I was actually gonna pick up It Ends With Us, because that was at the time where like, that was like a huge book talk thing. I didn't really know anything about the book, but I saw like edits of like, if you like the vibe and whatever. So I was like, I'll read it. I didn't really know who Colleen Hoover was. I was not an educated book person. I've like never read books my whole life. I actually hated reading, but you know, wanted the vibe. And I went to this Israeli bookstore, which, as you could guess, does not have a lot of English books. It's like big, and then there's one section with English books, and I was looking for It Ends With Us, and they didn't have it. And I was like, oh, there was another book that I had seen a couple of times on TikTok. It's called The Song of Achilles. So I was like, let me check if they have this, and they did. So I bought it. Where is it? This book has been through it all, okay? It's nasty now. I gave it to like 4 different people, because when I read this book, like, you think you're gonna get into reading and like you'll slowly get into it, you know? No. I literally could not sit through one class in my program without reading this book. Like, I literally have a text message from my friend who was like, dude, we're all listening and you look like a fucking nerd reading your book. I like could not do anything except read this. I became obsessed with it. I loved it. I love this book. I gave it 5 stars. Of course I did. Of course I did. Yeah, I gave this 5 stars. I loved it. I loved it so much that I actually, in my reading journal, you can get customized like a quote that you love. So mine was, I am made of memories. I'm obsessed with this book. I don't really know how to explain it. I'm really bad at like talking about things. Like, if I'm telling a story, I'll like lose my head like 4 times and be like, what was I saying? I definitely have short-term memory loss, whatever. So this is about a boy named Patroclus who is like the son of a king or something. I don't know. But this is like Greek mythology, like fiction, you know? So it's like about that, and there are like all those people in it. Like it's a love story between Patroclus and Achilles. And it is beautiful. And I recently saw, I think this was actually last night, I saw a TikTok which blew my mind, okay? I saw a TikTok which was basically the whole book is like, if you notice, it like switches from present and past tense a lot, and then at the end it goes to present tense finally for like the first, like for the last 20 pages of the book, when he is telling his love story to Achilles' mom to be able to pass on to be with him. And I thought it was gorgeous. Like, basically what they're saying is that what the TikTok said is that the whole book is him explaining to Achilles' mom their love story. Next book. Bridgerton, the Duke, and I, as we all were, probably was obsessed with the Bridgerton TV show when it came out. So I bought the book and I read it and I gave it 3 stars. This book is also very, very controversial because there's a bad scene in here, which is not explained as bad, but like, you know, if you have a conscience, you're reading it and you're like, this isn't right. You know, like this is not okay. I personally did enjoy the book. I enjoyed reading it. I thought it was super fast paced, which is why I gave it 3 stars, not 1 star. I'm not going to let one scene ruin the book it did kind of. Whatever. Okay, leave me alone. I enjoyed this book. I enjoyed reading it. That does not mean, you know, that I agree with that scene. I definitely do not. Next book. Of course, what the fuck else are you going to do? You're going to read the next one in the series because season 2 came out. So I had to read this. What the fuck did I give this, yo? I gave it 4 stars. Loved it. I was obsessed with this. It was so, so good. I just love having a physical book in my hands. I'm sorry. Who the fuck reads on a Kindle? Like, I don't understand that. My friend Yali, the girl that, like, you know, got me into reading, kind of, whatever, she was like, dude, like, this is a lot of money. I'm gonna buy a Kindle. Or, like, did she buy an iPad? Yeah, she got an iPad, and then she, like, I don't know, but she started reading digitally instead of physical books. Yes, this is spending a lot of my money, and I'm only, you know, like, I just came back to New York, starting my life, got a job, making money, and this is taking up a lot of it. This is taking up a lot of money. A lot of money. Whatever. I don't care. So fucking good. Whatever. Next book. Shadow and Bone. So, if you guys haven't seen the TV show Shadow and Bone, I highly recommend. Obsessed with it. Oh, I have a lot of energy. Ooh, so good. I highly recommend. So good. And as I was reading, I started getting into this thing where I was like, I don't know why, but no, I do know why. I'm a TV show and movie fanatic. Like, I have seen everything. I kind of just picked up books that I had seen TV shows of, which is, I know a lot of people read the books and then watch the show or the movie or whatever. I just kind of did it opposite for a weird reason. I changed later, but I did it opposite. I was like, I watched this movie. I love this movie. I watched this TV show. I loved it. I want to actually read from their perspectives, you know, like, whatever. Then I read Shadow and Bone. I gave this, didn't even have to look, 5 stars. Understood? 5 stars. So good. So, of course, I went to Siege and Storm, which is the next book in the series. Loved it. Actually, I don't remember what happened in each specific book. I just kind of, meshed them all together. 5 stars, for sure. And then the last book, Ruin and Rising. Let's see what I gave this. What do we think? 5 stars. This is a 5-star series, and this is the first full series I read, because I did read the first 2 Bridgerton books, but this is the first series I read. And I Loved it. Like, so good. Oh, I thought I was a romance girly because all those books were romance, but you'll see. I get into fantasy. The next book I read was Ugly Love. Another crazy TikTok book at the time. Crazy. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Oh, gave it 4 stars. That's weird. I really enjoyed this. Like, really enjoyed this. I specifically enjoyed the 2 points of view. This was the first book that I read that had more than 1 point of view, which I really liked. This is a friends with benefits to lovers trope, I guess. I like the way it was written, I really do. Colleen Hoover's like cool, I guess. She actually isn't cool. I don't know her as a person, but like her writing, let's not call it good, okay? I'm not stupid. Her writing's not good, it's not great, but it is so simple and easy that it is so easy to read. So for me, who was just getting into reading, I loved it. You know, it did really well for me. I also can't do anything if I'm not really good at it. Like, who the fuck enjoys things that they're not good at? Not me, that's for sure. Maybe that's just my ego, but like, whatever. And Colleen Hoover books were really easy to read. Like, they were just like, whatever. Next book, Me Before You. I have a lot of shit to say about this. I actually don't have this book because, as I was saying at the time, I was living in Israel. So then when I came back to New York, I had to bring all my books with me. And this book wasn't gonna bring it back. So it's sitting in my house in Israel alone, probably gathering dust, whatever. This was the first book that I ever considered DNFing. Do not finish. This was the first one I considered not finishing, but I was like, gotta do it. Because I'd also seen the movie and it was amazing. Like, so good. If you haven't seen it, go watch. Go. I gave this 3 stars. This shit is a 500-page book, okay? And only when you get to page 500 do they actually admit their feelings for each other. I definitely should have read the book before I saw the movie. I feel like I would have enjoyed it more that way. Sadly, I didn't, okay? Next book, I guess. Okay. Yo. This. I love this book. I loved this book. Of course, I gave it 5 stars. When you're reading from someone's perspective in a book, when it's not a narrator, not like a third person I'm watching over you telling you what's going on, when it's the person that's going through the book telling you, let's say I'm going through something, I'm actually living something, I will think a lot of things that I don't say, or I will... Okay, but then when I tell the story to a friend, to a family member, I will immediately, subconsciously, somehow, for no reason, doesn't mean I don't trust that person, censor things that happened in that story. I won't mention every single detail. I'll just tell the entertaining parts or the sad parts, you know? Like, you won't say every single thing. That's how I feel about a lot of books that are being narrated from the first person perspective. It's like I'm telling you a story, I'm not living the story. Do you see what I mean? This was the first book that you read every thought in her head. This is my favorite book that I've read. My favorite book. I am obsessed with this. It is beautiful and it is heartbreaking. It's not dramatic. It's just, this is something that happened. This is actually something that I think about. This is, you know, I'm not explaining this well, but love this book. Loved it. Next book, the Mind Fuck series. I don't have this book with me because I gave it to my friend Hillary. Fuck her, I'm pretty sure she didn't bring it back. The Mindfuck series. It is a series of 5 books. Each book is like literally 150 pages max, which is why it's like they took all 5 books in the series and they binded them together to one big book. So it's one huge book. I don't know how to like swallow when I drink, whatever. So yeah, it's amazing. It's so good. It's about, also written from two perspectives. There is the perspective of Logan. Whoa, I'm not gonna say that. I don't remember their names. There's the perspective of the man. There's a man and a woman in the book. There's a perspective of the man who is like an FBI agent, and he's the lead detective of a case where they're trying to find like a serial killer who's like crazy, okay? Nothing matches with this serial killer. Sometimes the prints, like the footprints, will be of like a 6'8" man. The other time will be of a 5'10" man. Sometimes they'll like look at like, I don't know how they can find this out, but they'll look at the footprints and be like, oh, this dude weighs 200 pounds. Next time they'll be like, he weighs 100 pounds. None of his victims have anything to do with one another. It's like impossible to find this serial killer. And then you meet the woman, Lana? Is her name Lana, or am I just thinking of Too Hot to Handle? I think her name's Lana. Let's just go with that. Let's pretend it is. Lana, who is the serial killer. And they fall in love, not knowing who each other are. So this woman is like trying to kill all these people while getting away from this lead detective who's being really hard on her case and is sleeping with him. And he's trying to find this serial killer who has no idea who it is, who he thinks is like a big ass man, and he's sleeping with her. It's crazy. Yeah, I guess it's like a romance because there is a romance in it, but it is a subplot. You know, it's not the most important thing, which is crazy for me because I love romance, but it's not the most important thing. This is a story about something that happened to her, something really hard that happened to her that fucked up her life, and she is getting her fucking revenge. That is what it's about. And it's crazy because she's like slaughtering people. She's slaughtering people. She's doing fucked up shit, and you're rooting for her. Klaus from the Vampire Diaries in the originals. He is a terrible person. Is he a person? He's like a werewolf hybrid, whatever. He's terrible. He slaughters people, he kills them, and you're still obsessed with him. He's still your favorite character. That's Lana in this book, okay? Also, you don't like, you find out like bits and pieces of what happened to her as she gets flashbacks, or like as she's like, you know, killing one of these men and she's being like, do you remember this? And then you get a flashback of what happened. Bits and pieces. And still, you will never figure out what happened to her. Like, you will never guess it until the last book when you find out. And it is the worst thing. Like, it is horrendous. It is so bad. I never, ever, ever, my mind never would have went to this. It's hard to read when you find out. Rawr, next book. Bridgerton, An Offer from a Gentleman. Okay. I'm not that person, okay? I'm not that person. I watch Haley Pham, I think that's her name, on YouTube. I love her book reviews. And she'll literally be like, oh yeah, so I read the first 2 books of this series, and then I read a standalone, and then I read this 2 books from like a different series, and then I went back to that No, I don't have the brain capacity for that at all. If I'm reading a series, I read the whole thing. That's it. Problem is, I couldn't find these books for so long. I couldn't find them anywhere. For some reason, they had book 1, book 2, and then book 5, 6, whatever. I couldn't find this book, and then I did. Whatever. I enjoyed this book. I really did. Why did I give it 3 stars? You know, I'm gonna trust Old Ness. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. This was Benedict's story, which, I'm sorry, unpopular opinion, why is it not the next season? Like, listen, I get it. Penelope needs to have her time. Not that I give a crap about Penelope and Colin, like at all. Maybe when I read their book, I'll care about them. But right now, I don't care about them. Also, I thought it was really cool that the TV show was doing like in the order of the books. No. They're skipping Benedict, and I love him. I love him. Next book, yo. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I actually didn't give it a rating. Interesting. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. So incredible. So so incredible. So good, so good, so good. It's about like a Marilyn Monroe type woman, you know what I mean? Like in the sense of like when she got big, she was it. She was that bitch. She was that woman. Everyone knew who she was. Doesn't mean she was necessarily an actress, an Oscar-winning actress, but she was it, you know? And again, spoiler alert. My friend, Yali, read this before me. And she was like, dude, this is lesbian vibes. Lesbian vibes. And anytime you see like an edit of this book on TikTok where they're like fan-made edit, it is always lesbians. Always. I read this book and I'm reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 men. 7 men I don't give a shit about. I'm like, I'm sorry, where's the lesbian? Where's the redhead? And then she comes. And God almighty, does she blow me away? This is a lesbian love story, okay? Just trust it. Trust the process. It's fucking amazing. Next book, yo. This is hard. My Dark Vanessa. Obviously 5 stars. Have you ever seen those TikTok videos where it's like the books that broke me? And then it's like this book and then like A Little Life, which I need to like be in top shape of mental health to read that book. I don't know why the fuck I picked this up, especially in the mental state that I was in. This is really hard. This is really hard to read. It is about a girl and she falls in love with her, I think at the time, she's 15, I think in the beginning. 15 in the beginning, I think. Let's trust me on that, 14, 15. Definitely not older than 15. And she falls in love with her like 48-year-old teacher at her boarding school. And she has a continuous relationship with him until he's... Sexual relationship until he's 55. But like talking and always in constant contact until he dies. This book is so hard. This is real. And I think a lot of people will read this and have a hard time being empathetic or sympathetic with this character. But my heart broke for her. Broke for her. Incredible, incredible, heartbreaking. And I actually had a really fucked up revelation. Fucked up in the sense of why didn't I see this before? I'm gonna say 2 words. Aria Ezra from Pretty Little Liars. It's crazy. You see all these like videos of people where they're like, why? Like when I was a kid, I loved Aria and Ezra. And now that I'm an adult, I can finally see that it's wrong. Yeah, you know, I'm 19 years old. I'm an adult. I knew it was wrong from the beginning. He's her teacher. There is a power dynamic there that is fucked up. But you're still rooting for them. And you still love them. No matter how manipulative he can be. Well, also because he really wasn't that manipulative, let's be honest. It is a TV show and they do want you to root for them. I mean, they fucking get married at the end and their parents are like, yes. No. But I think the problem is, and it's really stupid that I just thought of this, is that the actors are the same age. They're the same age. They look the same age. He looks, the teacher, he's like 6 years older than his students. And yet, some of his students, the actors, might even be older than him. Like, is this what you're teaching children who love your show? Sorry. Not it. I love this, basically. Loved it. The Silent Patient. I got hated for this. My little sister and my older sister are both obsessed with this book. If you can hear that, I live in New York. Sorry, get over it. My little sister and my older sister are obsessed with this book. They love it. Love it. I, as you can tell... I'm back. So as I was saying, I got 2 very strong, like, you must read this recommendations from people I trust, and I think have very good judgment, and they do have my genetics after all. Yeah, 4 stars. Not bad. Actually, a really great rating. But I was told that this was like 5-star. If possible, 6 stars. You know, like, I was told this was incredible. 4 stars. You know what I mean? I think you do. I think you get it. I think you do. So it's written in 2 storylines. One perspective, Obvi. It's the psychotherapist or psychopsychiatrist, whatever. It's about a woman who kills her husband and then doesn't speak. And I don't mean, I'm not telling y'all shit. I mean, she does not say a word. She doesn't communicate with anyone for 6 years. And then this dude pops up in her, like, where she's staying, you know? Like the mental institution, wherever the court sent her. He shows up and he's like, I'm gonna fix you. So it's from his perspective, which is super interesting. You'd think it would be from her perspective because, like, she doesn't speak, but it's from his perspective. And it's it's past and present. Except that you don't know that. You don't. So one chapter will be about his home life, you know, going home, his wife thinking that she's, like, having an affair, all that. And the second one will be him at the institution with Alicia? Is her name Alicia? Damn, I have terrible memory. The second one will be with Alicia, let's say. And it's, you know, his therapy sessions with her. Yeah. His therapy sessions with her, you know, like finding out, blah, 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 whatever. And I remember that I was telling my little sister, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this book is so weird. Like, when he's, like, in one chapter, it'll be about the wife. In the other chapter, it'll be about, let's call her the murderer. But for some reason, he never mentions one in the other. Never. He'll be at home with his wife, having fucked up days, getting physically attacked by Alicia, the one who's silent. And then he comes home and for some reason doesn't tell his wife about it. She never asks him about what's going on at this place, at his new job. It was weird. It was fucking weird. Then you find out later that the wife storyline is in the past. Not my thing. I loved it, but it's not gonna get me into, like, mystery, you know, if that's really what it is. Sorry, psychological thriller. Next book. This is where it starts. This is where it starts. The Shatter Me series. These are the books of the Shatter Me series that I read in 2022, but I'm still reading. This book has 6 full-length books and 5 novellas. A novella, I don't know what the definition is for that, but in this book, in this series, the series is written in Juliet's perspective. She's the main character. And then a novella, you get a different person's perspective, talking about something that happened in the book you just read, leading up to the starting point at the next book. Whoa. The novellas did come out after the full-length books came out, I'm pretty sure. But I recommend reading them. I liked it. It's about a girl, Juliet. And she has this thing where someone touches her and they go into, like, excruciating pain to the point where if you touch her for too long, sorry, you're out. And I love, like, hearing other people's opinions on the books I read, so I'm always like, oh, I just finished Shatter Me? TikTok, let me see what other people said. A lot of people thought that the first book was, like, when they rated it, it was, like, the last one for them. I disagree. I really do. A lot of people were like, yeah, it was just, like, so depressing. Like, I only really got into it in the next full-length book, Unravel Me. not for me. I actually read the first 50 pages of this book, which, what I do like about this is that usually in a series, fantasy, dystopian, whatever, the first book in the series is all world building. I'm not into that, okay? I like getting emotionally attached. I'm a very emotionally centered person. So if it's just plot and no like character development and like things like that, I'm not there. But this was the first book in a series that I read, like the second series I read, but that didn't focus on world building in the first one. Because she, ever since the apocalypse, let's say, when the world went boo-boo baba, she was locked up in, let's call it a psych ward. It's really not that because this place is fucked up, but let's call it a psych ward. Because, you know, she touches people, she kills them, no one believed that she wasn't doing it on purpose, and they locked her up in a psych ward. So, the first, like, half of the book is just her in the psych ward, and it's really, really sad. And what is really interesting about this book is that it crosses out. I actually didn't think, you see, I didn't think it was a fluke. I wasn't like, did I buy a book that someone else like crossed out things? Because I did read what the author wrote in the beginning of the book, Your Fault If You Didn't, where she was like, this is not, you know, like, I did this on purpose because Juliet does not know who she is and she does not have a voice. And later, as the books go by and as she starts to believe in herself more and more, she will say what she means and she won't cross out some. But I mean, it's like her real thoughts that she never says out loud because she doesn't believe in herself, and then what she actually says. And I thought that was really interesting. I fully read the first 50 pages of this book, which most people are like the worst part of the series because it's just her and like suffering in like a psych ward. I went to my mother's room and I had a mental breakdown. Like, I thought it was really, really well written. I liked it. So I read the Shatter Me series. First book, 4 stars. Then I read the novella, which the first one, it's like 2 novellas in each book. First novella is called Destroy Me, and it's in Warner's point of view. My man. 4 stars. Then, I can't tell you anything more about the series because it's very complicated. Unravel Me, the second full-length book. 4 stars. Then you go back and you read the second novella, Fracture Me, and I gave it 3 stars. This is from Adam's point of view. I don't give a flying cockatoo shit about Adam, so I really didn't enjoy reading this, but like, it was fine, I guess. And then Ignite Me. This is my first 5-star in the series. I love this book. I'm obsessed with it. I loved it. Can you tell? Loved it, loved it, loved it. 5 stars, obviously. Then you go straight into Restore Me. 5 stars. I read this book in 4 hours. I don't know how the frick-frack that's possible because I'm a really slow reader. I read it in 4 hours, okay? I was in Florida on a trip with my family. This was literally, like, what, a week ago? Yeah, like a week ago. Took me, like, the first 3 days of the trip to read Ignite Me. I got home, I finished Ignite Me, I finished like the last 80 pages of it, sat down, put that book back, took this book out, and read the whole thing while my family was gone for dinner and my little sister was throwing up in the bathroom. I ate this. So good. Also 5 stars. And then, Shadow Me, first novella in this book. I gave this 4 stars. This is the first time you get to read Kenji's point of view, which is Juliet's best friend. Warner is the love interest. Warner's the love interest. Kenji is Juliet's best friend. We love him. He's the best character. The best character. Amazing. Both novellas are in his perspective, by the way. First one that I read in his perspective, 4 stars. And then you go into Defy Me, which I gave 5 stars. This is the first full-length book that isn't just in Juliet's perspective. It has Warner, Juliet, and Kenji's perspective. Is that true? Yeah, it has all 3 of their perspectives, the 3 main bitches. I loved it, I loved it. 5 stars, 5 stars. Terrible, should not have picked this color. Whatever. And then you go back to Kenji, his novella, Reveal Me, which I gave 4 stars. And now I'm currently reading the last full-length book in the series called Imagine Me. I'm not done. I'm like halfway through. I, right now, would give it like 3 stars. But, you know, that'll probably change. And then I have the last novella called Believe Me. And then I'm done with this series. Fuck. Long series. This is the first time I've like committed, you know? I'll keep committed. I DNF'd, surprisingly, a lot of books this year. A lot of books, like 5. So that was my year of reading. Let's see how many, these are all the books that I finished reading, you know, not DNF. 1, 22, 23. 23 books. I didn't write the other ones. 23 books this year. I don't know when I read Song of Achilles. It could have been in like at the end of like a school year, because that's how I think of years. I'm talking 2022, okay? I don't know when I started it. I don't think I read Song of Achilles in January, but could have read it after that. But this was my first year of actually reading. Other than these books, I think I read like Wonder in 7th grade, and that's it. Like, I hated reading. Yeah, my dog's home now. Hey, Apollo. What's wrong? What's wrong? Hey, what's wrong? Don't step on my books. What's wrong? So that was my year of reading. And I'm very happy about it. Paul, you good? She's very confusing. That was it. I'm proud of myself. I don't know who's the time to read 200 books, but I'm gonna get there. Just kidding. Never. I loved it, and I'm very excited. And I'm very happy I made this video. Okay. That's it.